And Councilmember Cole is on the lights.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me? Gosh, it sounds like it's not on. Thank you, Chair. I'm just not sure where to start, but I first want to thank my community for coming out and for their patience and support and advocacy and keeping this in the forefront. It ain't over. It ain't over. We're going to do this. We're going to keep this up until we find solutions. That's number one. Number two, though, you know what? I'm not a PhD. I got this yesterday also. And I'm reading through it and trying to understand it. And I'm trying to find actual numbers that I can grab onto and discuss with my staff. And I didn't see that. And so I'm truly disappointed in what we have here because, no numbers. 260,000 cards was not listed on here. If we... I need numbers, I need percentages. So what I thought, okay, well, you're going to have it for us today in writing, and I didn't hear that. And I'm jotting down numbers, and that's not how we should do it. I wanted to have actual numbers where I didn't have to write, is it 20% that he said, or is it 15% that he said? That's what I wanted to see. So I'm disappointed in this. So when we come back next time, I want, almost like the weekly staffing report that the IBA gave us, the number of, stops, the 2006, 260,000. How many actual blacks were stopped? Was it 80,000 compared to 20,000? That's what and what percentages, and the meat like that is what I would like to see. And I think Norma brought that up earlier, that it was confusing, and we don't want confusing. We want to really get this and understand it so that we can help resolve it. That's number two. And it is still concerning and disappointing that race is still a significant factor when it comes to being searched, interviewed, arrested. And this affects my district, as you can see. It affects my district, and that's a concern to me. Being a black woman, it's really a concern to me. And 67,000 underreported. So are you saying there's still 67,000 cars that's out there and that's not reported, that we don't have data on? What is the 67,000?
Sure. So the first thing to say about this number is that it is an approximation. What we did is we compared the actual citation data. So there's a difference between the records of citations themselves, which are judicial records. They're used as needed in court. And so in that sense, much more reliable than the traffic stop data card material. And so we compared the volume of citations themselves with traffic stop data card records that included citations. And so we found many, many more citations written than were stop cards written that describe the issuance of a citation.
Well, in order for a community to trust, we need information. We need thorough information. We need to collect data on all stops related to pedestrian traffic and bike, and that's why I support AB 953. So we definitely need that, because we're not going to be able to be whole as a community or to come together as a community and trust unless we get all the information. Gender, color of eyes. When I was a cop, that might have been 100 years ago, but when we had to do FI on every person that we stopped, and I remember having information about the color of their eyes, how tall they were, and that data being submitted at the end of each shift, where they were, why we stopped them. And that was back in the 70s. So, we should have that information now. And I do want to see it. And when you talk about, in the report, you talk about recommending the discontinuation of traffic stop cards in favor of replacement system. What was the reasoning behind that recommendation versus recommending a more detailed version of data stop cards, for example?
Sure. I think it begins with the missing data that we have. Our analysis is based on stop card data. We saw 19% of stop card records included at least one piece of missing information. So the stop card records themselves are unreliable in our view. And we feel like we can get the same breadth of data collected through different means without requiring officers to complete an additional step that they feel is redundant, that they feel contributes to morale problems. So it replacing the stop card data with something that's of greater quality while giving the officers more time and removing something that they view as both frivolous and harmful to morale makes sense to us.
And what does that look like then? What is that?
What does the replacement system look like?
Right.
Yeah, the police department currently collects in different means all of the data that is included in the traffic stop data card. So they have a computer-aided dispatch system that captures a certain amount of information. Race and driver demographics are captured by traffic citations themselves. Details on searches, seizures, contraband discovery are captured on specific reports filed following those incidents. And we feel like if there is a system that compiles these data, it would serve the same purposes as the traffic stop data card without burdening the officers.
Well, I'm not sure. We have good officers. Let me say that. I know that. I love my Southeastern Division, and we have, we have the lieutenant now here. We have, the assistant chief here now. But I think that we really need to collect the data because, again, there is racial profiling, and if we're going to allow the police to just stop a person without telling us why, I think then that's not good. And again, when I first came in office, that was one of the things that was like 2013 and 2014. They said, Myrtle, there's racial profiling going on in our district. There's, we're being stopped. That was back then when I first came on, and I was hoping that it was going to get better. But when we have my community telling me then there was some problems going on, it's not getting any better. And we have to figure out how to make this work, because police officers come in to protect and serve, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. And so we have to find out a solution. We got to work together. That's another reason why I call for the reactivation of the Citizens Advisory Board on Police and Community Relations. I spoke with Bishop Bowser about that, and some Armand and Aaron about that, because I think we need to bring that back. It started in 1990, I believe, and it stopped in 1998. And I was here on City Council working for Council District 3, matter of fact, when I met with different police officers, and we met in different homes and garages, and we liked each other. The police and community, were well respected. So I think this will bring that back, because it's the study, consult, and advise the mayor and city council on police community relations, and promote and encourage open communication and cooperation between the police department and the residents of the city. And that will be coming to council sometime in November. We need to get that going. And lastly, I just want to see when this comes back, I just give me some numbers. Give me, 20,000 out of 6, blacks were stopped, and, not all have contraband. I want to see if they had warrants. I mean, we just need some more meat in this so that we can talk about it and discuss it and get it out. And again, this is going to continue. My community, they're not going to stop. Trust me on that. They will not stop until we have a solution and until the police and the community come together and start trusting each other. I think that's all I have to say for right now.
Thank you.